Hello, viewers from the internet. I greet you all to this another session today. Like we promised yesterday, that today's topic is gonna be on around communication. How do you communicate with your team if you're in a workplace? So we are still continuing with how to inspire your team to become the best team that you have as a manager or as a leader. So throughout this week, we're gonna focus on how do you inspire with your team. We talk about inspiring. We talk about how my story of becoming a good manager, and today is how to have that good communications amongst your team. As we all know, every good leader is a good communicator. Having that good communication skills amongst your staff, your team, your colleagues will bring a good relationship, will build a better relationship with your colleagues, with your team, wherever, whosoever you work with, wherever, which environment you find with. That makes it builds a good relationship when you have that good communication. Communication always comes in two form. You have the listener and then you have the speaker. So it's a two-way form, listening and speaking. It's how you show your listening skills. If somebody is speaking to you about something, how do you listen? How do you position your body language? How do you ensure that they know you are listening? And at the end of their conversation, how do you replicate to know that, okay, what they actually said, do you actually listening? Ask for clarity. Don't just make assumptions of what the person is saying to you that you clearly understand. Where you don't understand, ask for clarity rather than assumptions of what the other person is saying to you. Secondly, check your body language when you're receiving the information from your colleague. Check your body language. How was your body language presented? Does it show that you are actually listening? Your attitude? That comes a very far long way. Your body language shows what the other person talking to you will tell them that yes, you are actually listening. And by asking clarity, they will know that yes, you are definitely listening to them. And check your audience. Who are you talking to? As we all know, this world that we all found ourselves in, at workplace, wherever environment you are, is there a lot of mixed culture, backgrounds differences, different personalities, different religions, different cultures. It's everywhere. So you check your audience. How do you respond to that audience? How do you listen to that audience? Those are the key factors you need to remember when you're doing that two-way of communication. That becomes a two communication. What you can speak, how you speak to one person, to one set of background is different to another set of person. So you need to know your audience. How do you relate to them when doing that two-way of communication? Either you are the one talking or either you are the one listening. Always check your audience and know what sort of response are you giving to them when communicating with each other. Always stay that in your mind. And then another thing you need to look into is how do you treat each other when it comes to around communication. Like I say, check your audience. Do you show respect? Do you show equality? Do you show value in what information you are receiving from the person who is doing the talking? Those are the areas you need to really, really be mindful of. Checking yourself, patting your back to know, checking what you're saying, if it's actually working. I'll just give you an example of my current workplace at the moment. We have different staffs that comes in from different backgrounds, different nationalities. Sometimes some nationalities, the way they perceive information is different from how other nationalities perceive information. So you need to know your audience. how do you communicate with them, and the respect. Sometimes your tone of voice says a lot of what you mean. You might mean to talk like something simple with respect, thinking that you've said a word, but there is a saying that goes, it's not what you said, but it is how you said it that will bring a conflict. So in order to avoid those conflicts to happen amongst at workplace, you need to check your tone of voice. Who do you apply it to when you're talking to someone? It might be a simple task that you wanted to render to someone. It's not because they don't want to do the task, but how do you say to them for them to receive that communication? I will give you an example. The team I'm working with, in the mornings we do our handovers. After the handovers is allocation of who and who to do with who and who and who. And sometimes it's always the case of who is the one coordinating. As a manager, what I did with my team, I allocate everyone to be in charge of the daily shift. So when you are in charge, there is always this advice: communicate respectfully with your team. It's not about what you said, it's about how you said the word can make a good team go ahead for the day. So when it comes to allocations, the conflict is always there with some member of the team. How they communicate to each other by allocations. There are a lot of disagreement that I have to intervene and ask, what is happening here? Then you can see the response from the other team, or is the way this staff member asked me to do this. I don't like the tone of voice that he used on me. And then when you ask the other team, oh, I just meant this. I didn't mean it that way to make her get upset. And then I would then call on to the staff that did the allocation. I say, you did well. Your allocation is very good. But how do you pass the message to your other colleagues? Immediately she started talking, I interrupt. I said, that's the wrong way of the wrong tone do you use? So you need to look at how you communicate with your colleagues. Because everybody here have their own personalities. Some of us come from a different background. So you need to understand, how do you communicate with a certain group of people? You can communicate with me this way. Maybe my other colleagues might not take the tone of voice that you are using. So you need to check your audience. Who are you talking to? Who are you speaking to? So since then, we have that debrief with this staff around looking at how do you communicate amongst your team in order for them to receive what you've communicated to them. Check your body language. Always check yourself, what you said to your team. That's how I work as a manager. I looked around, I observe, I understand, I looked what they are saying around. If I had any conflict or disagreement going on at the back, because I'm a very good observation manager, I know everything that is going on. I don't just sit in that office, leave everything. I observe, I walked around. Any issue that is picked on, I will always request for supervision. Stop asking them for supervision. Is always a good, key, important role as a manager. That is a form of checking to see what is happening. Before situation escalated, you need to find out if there is a situation, how do you rectify that situation before it goes escalated? By having regular supervision. If there is a team member who is having difficulties on how to manage their caseload or how to manage the task that was offered, I always request for a supervision to tap them on the back and see what is happening. What are they struggling with? And what do they need help from? And I listen to them attentively, see what is going on. And if there is a solution, we solve it there. Sometimes you never know. People comes from everywhere. We all have our personal lives at home. You live your family life, kids' lives, and then you come to work. Maybe there is a situation at your home which you haven't resolved. And coming back to work, and you met more problems, and that affect how you communicate with your team. And what about going to visit your patients? What does that left you? So as a good manager, you need to pick on that when there is an issue growing, when there is an issue escalating, you picked it up there, rectify it there and there. Because if your staff member is having communication issues at the time when they come to work, and you don't point that out, trust me, at the end of the day, there won't be any good result. If you don't try to iron that out, you don't rectify that out to find out what is the problem, what is the solution, and try to see how you can support your team to get the best of them. And then you won't have a good result at the end of the day. So this is why I'm giving you this advice as a good manager. Make sure there is good, effective communication amongst your team. Where there is gap of communication, tap their back, check on them, call them out, ask what's the problem. There might be something that you can help with. There might be some advice you can give with. I've got a lot of them because we're all adults. The first thing I will say, when you come to work, you have your problems, personal issues at home. If there's something I can help, I can help. If there's something that I can't, the advice I will give you is we're all adults. We come here to work. I'm sorry, I respect your decision, but at the end of the day, you signed a contract to come to work every day. So when you have your personal issues, please don't make it affect you at workplace. There is always a flexibility at work. When you feel like you're not coping, there's always room for take a break so that you can have that relaxation. And we have a lot of resources in the trust where they can support staff well-being. So as a good member or good manager with your team, always be attentive, check around you, check your staff, because communication comes a long way. When you have something that is bothering you, it can affect the way you communicate with your team. So check on them. Have that communication skill as a manager. Know your team and know how you approach them. You need to be in the calm zone as a leader, as a manager, and you need to know what approaches do you use when meeting with your team. The way you communicate with your team, that's the way they will respond to you, and that's the way you're gonna get a best relationship amongst your team. And when you have a good team, it brings the good work in your team, and the service will progress. So communication goes a long way if you want a success in whatever area you are, if it's at workplace, if it's within your family, or wherever you find yourself. Communication goes a long way. Have that good communication and listening skill. And always remember your audience. Who are you talking to? Are you talking the right tone to the right person? Or if you're the one listening, are you listening attentively and make the other person, the other audience know that you are actually listening to them? Do you show any form of respect? That you understand what they are saying? By asking for clarity rather than assumption. So my advice I'm giving you today, my viewers, check your team or your family or wherever you want to check on around good communication. Check sometimes the way somebody responded to you when you ask question. If it's something that is not, you're not happy with, check yourself. How did you ask the question? Or what did you say to make the other person react the way you were not expecting? Check yourself. Ask yourself, what have I done wrong? Sometimes it's not always the other person that does it wrong. You need to check yourself as well. How did you pass the information? What was your tone of voice and your body language when you're passing the information? Those are the areas you need to check before you can actually conclude it. Oh, because of maybe it's the way I said the word that makes the other person becomes upset. Okay, I need to reflect back and think again. How do I approach it next time? And check your audience. Are they from a different background, a different religion? Maybe they don't accept the way of your tone of voice, your body language. Check yourself. If you're in a workplace, you are a manager, and you realize there is a conflict going on around breakdown of communication, ask first, when was the last time this staff member has their supervision? So check on them. It doesn't matter if supervision was done yesterday. Check on them again. Have that same supervision just to check on them. Sometimes something have changed. Their personal life. You need to check on them and do the right thing. Give them the right support. If they need to have a break, give them that break. Is to refer them for extra support needed, refer them. So you can have the best team that you have. Currently, where I'm working, I've got my staff member who have some issues. I looked into them. I took them very seriously because it's not just what we do, but staff health also comes first. Because I want everybody to be in a good spirit when they come to work. So have that communication. Communication comes a long way to build up the good relationships amongst your team, your workplace, your work colleagues, and even with family too. So check how you receive a message and how you respond to that message. So check yourself. So I will leave this one for you today. Tomorrow, we will think of another topic to discuss. But I'll let you know what topic to discuss tomorrow. But if you have any suggestion, you can leave a comment on the comment section below. And please, please, please don't forget to share. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I think this is the first time I'm talking about subscribing. So if you're happy and you think that this content is really helpful for you, please like, subscribe, and share the program. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you on my next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye.